Good morning. If everybody can make your way to your seats, please. I would like to ask Reverend Burris to come forward and have a blessing.
Good morning. It's great to see everybody out on this beautiful morning. Would you please join me for a word of prayer? Gracious God, you have given us a beautiful day, a wonderful place to meet, and people that care about this earth, this community, and those who reside in it. Lord, we ask that you bless this event, that you bless the mayor, the commissioners, and all those who work so hard for the people of Newberry. And Lord, we ask that you bless this community, that it is a place of health and growth and love. Be with us now, Lord. Amen.
Thank you, Reverend Burris. Okay, if you have not done so yet, Becky Raymond is right here, and she has a magic box where I need you to place your business card or your name, and we're going to do a drawing for a $25 gift card for the blend provided by the Newberry-Jonesville Chamber at the end today. So good morning again. My name is Chessie Flanders, and I'm the Vice President of the Newberry-Jonesville Chamber of Commerce. And we're really excited for you to be here today to celebrate Newberry and all of the accomplishments this past year and look forward to a wonderful year ahead. So at this time, I would like to welcome Mayor Marlowe to the stage for the State of the City address.
We're sharing technology here this morning. We're very good at improvising here. So good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I want to thank all of you for waking up so early to come here to hear about how the city of Newberry is doing. Certainly, I think you will all join me in thanking the blend for bringing us some of their product. Yes, I agree. And if anybody has the need of a refill in the next few minutes, I promise I won't take offense. Of course, I want to express my gratitude to the Chamber, not only for hosting this event, but also for the inspiration to bring it to life. I think this is a great idea, it's a great tradition, and I'm honored to have the opportunity to talk to you this morning about what the Commission and I feel is the state of the city. Finally, I wish to thank my fellow elected officials here today, Commissioner McGehee, Commissioner Glanzer. Without them, our city would not have the clear direction that they enjoy. I also want to recognize School Board Member April Griffin. Thank you for being here. Jessica Norfleet is here for Ted Yoho's office. Thank you. And former State Representative Debbie Boyd. Thank you for being here. On a personal note, I'd like to thank my 7th grade civics teacher, Ms. Carol Maddox. I'm sure that she never thought I'd be standing here delivering a State of the City address. And then, of course, I'd like to thank our charter officers who are here in attendance. Our city clerk, Judy Rice. I know I've seen her. Thank you. Thank you for being here. Scott Walker, our attorney. Thank you. And, of course, our city manager, Mike New. I would like to also recognize all of the city staff who are here, those in attendance and those the ones who are out still making the city operate today. We appreciate them every day. They work to make sure that our vision of the city becomes a reality, and that's going to be a theme for me today. Now, in preparation for this, I watched Mayor Conrad's inaugural speech from last year. Unfortunately for all of us, he did such a wonderful job discussing the past, present, and potential future of the state of Newberry that I could keep this pretty short. But if you know me, you know I like to talk, especially when the subject is the city of Newberry. If you didn't have the opportunity to listen to former Mayor Bill Conrad's speech last year, I'd like to say that everything he talked about last year is still true today. We are still booming in residential growth. We continue to have businesses that are blazing trails, receiving awards, bringing positive regional attention to Newberry. Businesses like Gourmet Rodent, Inspired Energy, Endoscopy Replacement Parts, all of which are not only national but international exporters. If you've ever been into Bounds Heating and Air, the entire front wall is covered in awards from every single aspect of that industry. Businesses like Argos that bring a tremendous value to our community in terms of jobs, tax base, corporate stewardship, and they ask so little of us in return. We are continuing to work on bringing advanced metering infrastructure, also known as smart metering technology, to Newberry, with all of the benefits that that technology will bring with it. We continue to court new businesses through our economic development programs, while always seeking new and better ways to support our existing businesses. The sometimes slow but always advancing drumbeat of progress continues to march forward in our commission chamber and government offices of our City Hall. In the past year, the Commission directed the staff to renegotiate 2 contracts that have put a tremendous amount of money back into our community. First, the Commission voted to competitively bid out the waste services contract. Now, while this process inspired some healthy debate, the end result was a benefit to the resident and the business alike. Now, I'm very proud of our Commission and staff on this point because this was an illustrative moment about the benefits of fighting against complacency, of not simply sticking with the status quo. And for its effort, the Commission reduced the cost of waste services for our residents by over 25%, while increasing the service to our residents by adding recycling and yard waste disposal options for non-residential customers. Now that's a $60 a year savings for the average residential account. I'm pleased to announce that our solid waste rates for both residential and non-residential services are now the lowest in our region. Secondly, thank you. It's always good to have good negotiators on your side. Now, secondly, the Commission also directed staff to renegotiate our contract for law enforcement services. This process, too, inspired some healthy debate. But again, the end result was a victory for our residents. For those of you who have tracked this issue in particular, you will remember that the city used to pay into the Alachua County Municipal Taxing Services Unit, better known as the MSTU. A little over a year ago, this commission opted out of the MSTU in favor of contracting directly with the Alachua County Sheriff's Office. The commission felt that this was a fair, a more transparent process that would protect our residents' tax dollars and protect their ability to track those tax dollars. Because of that decision and the subsequent negotiations that followed, the commission has saved each household in Newberry an average of just under $200 a year and kept $688,000 in our community, all while ensuring that our 3 schools here in Newberry each keep a full-time school resource officer. Now, in these times as a father and as a teacher, I would like to give our commission my personal thanks for making that commitment to our children. Thank you. To state it simply, our current 3-year contract with ASO provides us with stability and certainty regarding the level of law enforcement services in Newberry, as well as the annual cost for those services, making our contract with the sheriff a win for our community and the sheriff as well. While we are on the subject of public safety, it is worth also reporting that this commission continued its emphasis and commitment to public safety by expanding and renovating our fire station. This $500,000 project provides additional room for a future ambulance and associated staff. The fire station is going to receive a much needed facelift. It's been about 30 years. If you're driving by, it's going to be beautiful. We can't wait. And most importantly, our fire department began a paramedic training program that aims to ensure that Newberry residents receive advanced life support services directly from the Newberry Fire Department. Now, this is the highest level of service that can be offered. It is an amazing level of service for a city of our size to offer, and Newberry committed to this level of service when we initiated this training program. And I want to give my personal thanks to Chief Buckner for bringing this program into life. To return to the subject of putting money back into our community and make one last point. Mayor Conrad discussed last year our new business-friendly policy shift in our utility department. He went into greater detail about that policy, but suffice it to say that now in the city of Newberry, if you have a good credit score, it's possible for you to open a business and get your utilities turned on without having to tie up potentially thousands of dollars in your utility deposit. Now, the point I want to focus your attention on this morning is that when the commission made that policy decision, it made businesses and residents alike eligible for a refund of their utility deposit. And this move pushed $40,000 back into our community. And it's just one more example of a never-ending, relentless pursuit by this commission to put money back into our residents' pockets. So taken in sum, in the past year, this commission has made policy decisions and our staff has negotiated contracts for services that have put more than $800,000 back into our residents' pockets. Now that is a tangible net benefit to our residents, and it is the first point I want to make about the state of Newberry. Our residents are realizing a better value for services that they receive, which puts them in a better financial state. This year, your city was able to work to make our citizens more financially secure. And a financially stable resident has the economic freedom to become a customer, and customers keep our local businesses thriving. But not only do we continue the never-ending pursuit to save our residents money and keep it in their pockets, we also continue to build our own financial security and success by diversifying our revenue sources and building our general fund reserves to situate us for continued future financial stability and success. So I'm also pleased to be able to announce that our city's financial status, as determined by an independent auditor, Dallas wanted to make sure I got that part in, is stronger than it has ever been before. That's impressive. Thank you, Dallas. While we work to build our and our residents' financial security, we are also working hard to enhance some of the more tangible aspects to the quality of life here in Newberry. Towards that goal, the city continues to offer low utility rates, some of the lowest in the region, in fact, to our customers. Our electric, water, and wastewater utilities provide a very reliable service to our residents, and because we believe that affordable utility rates are directly related to the quality of life in a community, we have not raised our electric rates in 8 years. Our customer service and utility teams work with customers to help address usage concerns through education, outreach, online and in-person consumption audits, and we are currently working to give our customers even more independence in their consumption choices through the use of the advanced metered infrastructure that I keep bringing up. It's going to be a big deal in the future here. We're laying that groundwork. That's going to provide our customers with increased control over their utility bills. Also in 2017, the city quietly continued its systematic upgrade of its water and wastewater system infrastructure by commissioning another $500,000 project to replace an obsolete control and communication system, something that the experts call SCADA. And I might even be saying that wrong. SCADA, I think I got it. Now, no one will ever know that we have undertaken this project. It's about as boring and technical as I intend to get here with you this morning, I promise. But this initiative will so greatly enhance the reliability of our utility system, reducing operating costs, and it will set the table for integrating with that smart technology that is coming into this industry. It would be negligent of me not to bring it up. A decade from now, our residents will enjoy an infinitely more reliable water and wastewater system, all because of the actions that were taken in 2017. One last point about the utility service, and then I promise I'll move on to something else. Quite frankly, Newberry offers the amenities of a much larger utility company. We have 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year call service that provides our utility customers around-the-clock service. If you want to pay your electric bill at 2 a.m. on a Thursday morning, we can do that. There is simply no other city that can offer you our small-town atmosphere along with such a sophisticated utility service level. All right, I'll stop bragging about our utility department. Get back to the quality of life enhancements. The Commission also demonstrated its commitment to infrastructure by rolling out a road resurfacing program this year. The resurfacing of Newberry Lane was the initial project on this program, which is intended to be a staple moving forward. We believe decent roads are another crucial factor in the quality of life equation, and this Commission is committed to making the roads in Newberry the best in Alachua County. Next year, I hope to be reporting on another successful renegotiation of the local option fuel tax, which will be an important plank in the road resurfacing program. In recreation, in response to the Alachua County voter-approved half-cent sales tax, our Commission adopted an 8-year plan to spend $2.8 million in Wild Spaces Public Places funding to enhance the city's recreation infrastructure. Now, our recreation program is already recognized regionally. This plan the Commission adopted will permit us to continue offering our residents premier recreational services. All of these programs and infrastructure enhancements, including the fire station addition and renovations, they all go into the Commission's vision for making the city of Newberry one of the most attractive communities in the state of Florida. But that vision needs a strong, talented, and dedicated staff to bring it into fruition. So if you will bear with me, I think there's one more facet that usually goes unmentioned when it comes to the quality of life enjoyed in any community. And I can illustrate this point by pointing out some of the obstacles we faced this year. Certainly the largest, most dramatic obstacle was the threat of Hurricane Irma. Irma battered Newberry and the entire state, and Irma was a storm that brought with it unique and difficult challenges, but one that Newberry met head on. Thanks to the hard work and planning of our city staff, shelters were opened and staffed, power was restored quickly, roads were cleared, and more than 220 tons of storm debris was removed pretty quickly, which allowed us to get back to normal pretty quickly. We even opened up 2 cooling stations here in Newberry for residents who were without power to come in and recharge, both literally and figuratively. Of course, emergency situations aren't the only time our employees shine. In addition to the hard work, professionalism, and dedication they show day in and day out, these men and women also donate their time, goods, and money throughout the year to give back to our community. Some of their efforts this year include fundraising, collecting clothes, toys, sports equipment, electronics, gift cards to grant holiday wishes to children in need. They raised more than $10,000 to support charities, including United Way, the American Cancer Society, and many school organizations, donating and collecting over 1,300 pounds of food to support Blessed Hope here in Newberry, donating school supplies for underprivileged children, volunteering several hundred hours of time towards citywide cleanups, the Christmas parade, the Watermelon Parade, the Watermelon Festival, and the Spring and Fall Main Street Festivals. Having employees that buy in to the vision that the Commission outlines is perhaps the most crucial element to the success of that vision. So when I thank them for the work that they do, that comes from the bottom of my heart. They are the heart and soul of this vision. They make this vision a reality. If there's any doubt of that, let me briefly just go through some of the awards that our city staff has received this year. They received the Customer Connections Award for outstanding customer service efforts, the Restoring Communities Award for the electric crew's tireless effort in restoring power to our residents after the hurricane. And our very own city manager, Mike New, was recognized nationally by the American Public Power Association with the Larry Hobart 7 Hats Award, which clearly has to be a mistake because he at least wears 9 or 10. The Easton Foundation, which shares our Easton Newberry Sports Complex, received the State of Florida's Medium Event of the Year Award for its annual Gator Cup Archery event. Champions Park of Newberry received the Small Market Venue of the Year Award during the exact same awards ceremony. It was a great night for Newberry. It's been an impressive year, and they deserve each and every one of those recognitions. So that is our current state for the resident living here in Newberry. He or she is quietly going about their day, probably unaware of all that this city is doing to try to make their lives a little bit better, and that is perhaps exactly as it should be. We will all continue to work for our residents so that next year I will stand here and be able to tell you how we've made their life even a little bit better than it was this year. But as a chamber, while I know you understand the relationship between happy and financially secure residents and the importance of quality of life in attracting even more residents, you are probably more interested in the current state of Newberry for business itself. So let's start with the relationship between our local government and business. Newberry is gaining a reputation for progressively conservative thinking. Now that's an interesting phrase that many of you may feel is a contradiction in terms, but I think it encapsulates perfectly Newberry's approach to moving forward. I've seen this commission think outside the box, sometimes way, way outside the box, and I've seen our staff rise to the occasion and make that out-of-the-box thinking seem in the end the way it should have always been from the beginning. In my opinion, it is this reputation that is fast becoming Newberry's strongest asset for encouraging a strong economic push. Businesses and entrepreneurs are beginning to come to us because they've heard that Newberry is the place to go when you want government to help you figure out how to do it. Plenty of governments are out there that are really good at telling you how it can't be done. We are always working in Newberry towards the goal of being able to say, this is how we can get it done. I'd like to share with you two instances of how Newberry interacts with businesses that I believe are unique. First, let's look at our most recent experience with the Amish store. In another town, that business owner probably would have been summarily closed down. Operating under an open-air ordinance, there wasn't much coming into the city in the way of business taxes, so most cities would have made the calculation that it wasn't worth their time to spend their time. However, by working with the owner, we were able not only to help him figure out how to stay open, but to get him into our downtown area and fill a vacant storefront property. Also, let's think about the recent situation with Gatorback. Gatorback was faced with the loss of their lease. They either had to find a new location, or Newberry would have lost a very important piece to our sports tourism industry. Now, not only did the city work diligently to help the promoter try to find another location, but when that option hit a speed bump, the city shifted gears and worked diligently to mediate between the promoter and the property owners to keep Gatorback, again, one of our most important sports tourism economic drivers, open and operating here in the city of Newberry. Now, I believe these are just two examples that are indicative of the relationship that Newberry is trying to build with our businesses and the reputation that Newberry is trying to build in the region. There is always work to be done, but my first point about the state of Newberry for business is that our government-business relationship model is headed in the right direction. So what are the things that we are doing to aggressively encourage economic development for the city? Again, I would argue that it is this commission's outside-the-box thinking that is our strongest asset. For example, take the water main expansion down State Road 26, east of our downtown district. Clearly, the east side of Newberry, along Newberry Road, has and will continue to be our strongest contender for economic development. The only aspect that that corridor lacked was the infrastructure to support that development. This commission tasked our Economic Development Committee and staff to work with local property owners and developers to come up with ideas. And in fact, from that request, we actually were approached by a group of local property owners and developers who were willing to fund a study out of their own pockets to help crystallize a plan. Out of all of those ideas, a concept began to emerge whereby the city would work with the landowners to pay the upfront costs of running water down 26. And the developers would pay the Newberry taxpayer back his fair share upon the start of the development. Now, this may seem like a simple concept, but in reality, it was a very creative and novel approach to solving a complex issue of how to provide the necessary infrastructure along State Road 26 that was needed to stimulate the economic development. You may have heard recently that Newberry is one of the fastest growing cities in the state of Florida. This water main expansion is one of the strategies that the Commission is utilizing to manage and control that growth. Of course, we all know that the development won't really take off until there's a companion sewer expansion to match the water. But the city is not waiting to finish the water before we start working on the sewer. We have been actively working on funding sources as well as lobbying Tallahassee to bring that next step also to fruition. While we're talking about the expansion down Newberry Road, it's worth repeating that this commission was adamant with the developers that we worked with that our primary interest is not in more residential development. The commission utilized taxpayer money to spur commercial growth with the ultimate intention of eventually easing the residential taxpayer burden. It's very important to this commission that our commercial growth begins to reflect our residential growth, and this project is crucial to that goal. I can't miss the opportunity to mention that in April, Newberry voters approved by a 70% affirmative vote a referendum that will allow the City Commission to provide tax abatements as economic incentives for new development. This is another tool in Newberry's bag for economic development and another indicator of Newberry's forward-thinking, aggressive approach to economic development. Finally, the project that is perhaps nearest and dearest to my heart is the Newberry Agritech Innovation Park that we've been working on for the last 2 to 3 years, but is at last, I believe, beginning to pick up speed. Newberry is in the early stages of promoting this park, a concept designed at its core to stimulate economic development. The vision of the park is to create an agricultural-based innovation center that advances the commercialization of agricultural innovations and stimulates new agribusiness and supports technology companies, thereby strengthening the agricultural employment base of Newberry. The park will focus on innovations in the agriculture industry, which will not only provide high-paying jobs and capital investment, but also complement Newberry's agricultural heritage. Newberry is taking the necessary steps to move the Agritech Innovation Park from vision to reality. So far, we have met with representatives from the University of Florida and the Institute of Food and Agricultural Sciences to plant the seeds for the project. Both groups were enthusiastic, and both groups offered to help the city promote and further refine the concept. The Agritech Innovation Park is a long-term project. It will take years before coming to fruition, but it is a concept that recognizes the dwindling acreage that UF has in Alachua County for agricultural research. It recognizes the 4-lane corridor with easy access to both UF and I-75, and it utilizes Newberry's rich history of agricultural innovation. Now, there are plenty of agricultural communities in North Central Florida, but Newberry is unique in our progressive agricultural practices, from Doc Berry's discovery of the formula to eradicate the screwworm, which saved the cattle industry, to Trevor Bass's recent recognition as the State of Florida Young Farmer of the Year. We have always had farmers at the forefront of new best practice techniques in Newberry, willing to try new models, willing to enter into new markets. I see the research park as a natural next step in Newberry's agricultural history, and I am excited by the traction that we are starting to get. As we look towards the future, we obviously have a lot on our plate, and we're excited about that, about the opportunities that are headed towards Newberry in the coming years. People are moving to Newberry in droves because we are a great hometown with excellent parks, recreational programming, top-rated schools, a city who from top to bottom has a passion for serving this community. So I will end with 2 more stories that speak, I believe, to our warm, small-town environment. In a world that is being torn apart by political and ideological division, our town stands out as an example of brotherly love. When one of our local businesses, the Newberry Cold Storage, burned down, not only did our fire department arrive within minutes to put out the fire, they also helped to load up over $15,000 worth of meat that made it through the fire in those freezers. They helped to transport that food to our local high school, which had stepped forward to volunteer its own freezers. Now, that's a town that comes together to save a local business, to save one of our own. When Easton turned into an emergency shelter to house mostly strangers from all over the state of Florida, Newberry showed up to take care of them. We had residents bringing toys and games for scared children, bedding and blankets, snacks and water, and cilantro tacos came the night before the hurricane to feed over 300 strangers dinner for free. Now, folks, those are the kinds of acts that it is my privilege to witness in Newberry on almost a daily basis. It is why so many people want to join us here and be a part of our community and what we're building. I appreciate your time and attention this morning, and I'd be happy to answer any questions that you might have. Thank you. These guys right here. That guy right there. Don't be shy now. This is your chance to find out whatever I missed. Whatever I missed, you came here for it. Yes, sir.
What was that term you said? Progressively conservative?
Progressively conservative thinking. Yes, I knew I'd get a question on that. Thank you. Yes, yeah. I have a lot of opportunity to speak about that term with some of my other governing boards in Alachua County. I believe that Newberry seeks to do a lot of the things that some what may be stereotypically believed to be other liberal communities do. We just simply have a different approach to achieve the same goal. So that's what I'm going to trademark the phrase. So before you put it anywhere, just know. Anybody else? It's already been posted. It's on the forum. It's done now. Well, we won't hold you your feet to the fire. Obviously, we covered everything that you're interested in knowing. We have plenty of snacks over here. This is a wonderful chance to mingle. I believe our chamber has a few more announcements to make. If you think of a question that you didn't get a chance to ask, I'll be around for a few minutes after. The bell does. Second period starts at 9:35, though, so I have to be back when that bell rings. But I do appreciate your time.